Hello and welcome. This is the news on NTA International. I am Lami Ali with the headlines. COVID-19 updates Nigerian government to strengthen strategies towards preventing second wave of pandemic. Organized labor and government of Nigeria agreed to reconsider hiking pump price of petroleum motor spirits. As Senator Dume regains freedom, Nigeria's Supreme Court reaffirms judgments on Ogoni oil spillage. Many thanks for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has restated the commitments of the federal government towards addressing the serious ecological challenges bedeviling parts of the country, especially the erosion menace in Imo State. This was while granting audience to Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo. State House correspondent Adam Musambu reports that discussions centered on politics, national unity and development.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Governor Hope Uzodinma had told President Muhammadu Buhari that out of the 360 erosion sites in Imo State, 57 have already been assessed, and therefore an estimated 75 billion naira is required towards addressing the menace.
It's now very critical and is an emergency case, and the President in his wisdom promised to immediately get in touch with the Ecological Fund Office to remedy the situation as an emergency.
The governor, who described as welcoming the defection of his Ebonyi State counterpart Dave Umahi to the APC, was emphatic that the governing party is the best bet for Ndibo to realize their developmental and other aspirations.
Our preachings and gospels have always been how to encourage national unity, how to encourage national integration, how to encourage national cohesion. I think it will be more cost effective to have my people, the people of Southeast, see reason and join APC, the national party. This Nigerian project belongs to all of us.
Governor Hope Uzodinma used the opportunity to appreciate the president for believing in Nigeria and committed towards addressing prevailing challenges selflessly for sustainable national growth and development.
We have a president who is very humble, who is determined, who has a target, and he is going to his target irrespective of what people are saying. The situation where you sit down and believe that until you are the one who is the president before Nigeria can move is a bloody waste of time.
He also thanked President Buhari for making it possible for Imo State to proudly host the first modular refinery in the country, thereby enhancing the economic fortune of the Eastern Heartland. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Broadcasting organizations in the country have been called upon to rise above board by projecting national issues from a positive point of view, rather than allow foreign media organizations take the lead and plunge the country into crisis. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed made the call at an interactive session with members of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
The meeting is coming on the heels of the NSAS protest and the position CNN took. The Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, said Nigerian media organs have a greater stake in the country and can do better, hence the need to brace up.
But the big lesson to draw from CNN's faux pas is that it magnifies the failure or inadequacy of our own broadcast organizations. In the wake of our spat with CNN, people are asking, why didn't our own broadcast stations take the lead in reporting the incident at Lekki? Why didn't they take the lead in presenting an authentic narrative? Why must we allow the foreign broadcast stations, some of which didn't even have correspondents on ground, to dictate the pace or the narrative?
The minister disclosed that CNN, for now, in his words, is grasping at straws in desperation to justify its inaccurate and unbalanced investigation.
But in the process, it is sinking more and more into professional infamy. Yesterday, November 26th, in the clearest indication yet of its confusion over the Lekki toll gate incident, CNN tried to clarify its tweet for October 23rd by saying it never attributed the death toll of 38 to Amnesty International, and that the tweet also did not make it clear that the death toll was for protests across the country.
Again, the minister said commentators on one hand have constantly redirected CNN to their tweet. For the bond members, having applauded the interaction with the minister, called for more of such interactions and expressed sadness over the fine placed on some organizations. Others equally pointed at a possible extension on waivers and tax reliefs by the NBC. It is expected that the bond members, in their review of the NSAS protests, will come up with a guide for their members to comply with. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, 2020 has been a challenging year for the Nigeria police force, with rising cases of insurgency, banditry, abduction, robbery, cultism and other criminal offences. And to keep track with these national security situation and re-strategize for effective policing, top police officials are meeting to review the operations. Correspondent Francis Fom has the details.
Leadership we have been providing at the field level and other formations were made giant strides in our drive to guarantee a stable security order in the country.
This is the last strategic meeting of the Nigeria Police in 2020. The agenda is to evaluate the progress made and chart a way forward for a vibrant and civil-related policing.
We should note that the ever-increasing complexity of crime as well as the evolving activities of subversive elements will continue to test our professional competency. I'm confident in your ability to work with other security agencies in ensuring that the country remains safe.
Mr. President is very much...
Minister of Police Affairs encouraged officers to initiate deliberate ways of surmounting security challenges facing the nation.
We thank you for your diligence. We thank you for your commitment. And I want to urge you to continue to do more. We want to urge you to continue to be more committed to the cause of the country and to continue to ensure that we maintain peace and security of the country.
The minister assures the force of government's commitment to equipping the police with modern technology to combat crime. In Abuja, Francis Fom, NTA News.
To the Judiciary now, 5 days after he was remanded at the Kuje Correctional Center, the Federal High Court in Abuja Friday granted Senator Alindume bail. The court ordered Dume to deposit his international passport to the Chief Registrar pending the determination of his appeal. Also, the court held that Dume must sign an undertaking that he would, within 10 days, compile and transmit the record of proceedings to the Court of Appeal. Dume, who represents Borno South Senatorial District, was remanded in prison custody over his failure to produce the former chairman of the defunct pension reform tax team, Abdurrashid Maina, whom he stood surety for. And the Supreme Court has again ordered Shell Oil Company of Nigeria to pay compensation to the community in Ogoni land for the oil spill, which destroyed the ecosystem. The Apex Court reaffirmed an earlier judgment which it had passed in January 2019. Femi Okewo reports.
For 31 years now, some communities in Ogoni land of Rivers State have been in court seeking compensation over the oil spillage that has polluted their environment occasioned by the operations of Shell. At each level of the Nigerian judicial system, the communities have won their cases of 72 billion naira compensation. On the 11th of January 2019, the Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the lower court, only for Shell to again return to the Apex Court this year, asking for a reversal of that judgment. The Ogoni communities, in a preliminary objection through their counsel, pressed the Supreme Court to throw out the appeal as it constituted a desecration of the finality of the land's Apex Court. In a judgment presided over by Justice Bode Roths-Vivor and written by Justice Chima Nweze, the Supreme Court upheld the preliminary objection and reaffirmed its earlier judgment of the 11th of January 2019, ordering Shell to pay compensation to the Ogoni communities.
The judgment sum as at today, with interest running, is in the neighborhood of 182 billion naira. The judgment itself now executory because a garnishee order absolute has been issued.
The communities will now embark on steps to take benefit of the Supreme Court judgment. In Abuja, Femi Okeowu, NTA News.
Meeting between the federal government and organized labor as the presidential villa has ended, with governments promising to consider the proposal of labor on reversal of increments in petrol pump price next week. Austin Anyebe reports that the organized labor stand is for governments to reverse the latest increments in the pump price of petrol, which governments, after deliberation with labor leaders, promised to consult with other relevant stakeholders in the petroleum industry.
From the organized labor is clear, and they want a reversal of the pump price to what it was. So the government side will take it back. Even though we know government is not fixing prices of PMS anymore because it's deregulated, but it's part of the economy. So for now, yes, everybody is happy with the situation in the electricity industry, but there's a committee that is working, headed by the Minister of State, Labor and Employment. In fact, next week they will now use the opportunity and take field visits to the different discourse in Nigeria, and then come back with a more comprehensive report.
Till the next 1 week for NNPC and the Minister of Petroleum to do proper consultation on the reversal of the fuel price back to what it was before.
Earlier, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said everything possible will be done to improve the welfare of Nigerians.
Delegation, I want to assure the organized labor of the preparedness of government to work hand in hand with you to ensure that resolutions are reached.
In other news, 3 presidential nominees for the positions of Chairman, Vice Chairman and Commissioner for the National Electricity Regulatory Commission have been screened by the Senate Committee on Power. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Edepefo reports that the committee grilled the nominees on various issues and challenged them to change the power narrative when their positions are finally confirmed.
Having thoroughly perused the credentials of the nominees, the lawmakers certified them to be qualified for the job. They are mindful of the task ahead, as they highlighted some of the challenges of the sector, to include fluctuation of megawatts generated, inadequate power distribution and metering system, high tariffs, as well as underutilization of renewable energy option.
The issue of making the sector liquid is very dramatic. And so just take note of these issues, because we will be breathing down your neck when we come.
When you take over, when you're finally confirmed, that of course we're going to have engagement with you, we should be able to hold on to something and remind you on behalf of Nigerians.
What I want to give Nigerians that you do whatever is humanly possible in your regulatory status to ensure steady supply of electricity.
The nominees assured Nigerians that they would do things differently this time to salvage the sector if given the opportunity.
Improving quality of service, focus on customer care. The Commission is actually about to create a call center now where consumers can actually reach out and get their issues resolved. We want to focus on security of supply. We also want to focus on increasing access. So we want to see how we can diversify into renewables and other sources of energy so that when there are disruptions in one technology, Nigeria is not plunged into.
We have the supply agreement, gas transportation agreement, the power purchase agreements, vesting contracts, transmission use of system agreement. All these contracts are not activated. So going forward, we have to activate these contracts so that we can hold all these market participants, accountable to their action and inactions.
The Senate Committee and the presidential nominees were also on the same page on the need for adequate and regular power supply for youth empowerment, industrialization, and all-round development of the nation. From the National Assembly, Vivian Idekbefo, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. Time now to take a break. More reports when we return.
Hey beautiful, your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight.
Now reading page 3.
Experience unlimited super-fast internet access from Entel 4G. Entel. Live more.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Nigeria is currently in recession occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Although the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Zainab Shamsun Ahmed, said the recession will be short-lived, the common man is not insulated from it. To speak on this and other related issues is Ahmed Bawa Bello, a professor of accounting, Dean, School of Management and Information Technology, Modibo Adamo University of Technology in Yola. Professor Bawa, you're welcome to NTA International.
Good evening. Thank you. It's a pleasure having me.
Now, let's begin this way. How different is this recession from that of 2016?
Well, thank you. Before then, let me say that he's a former Dean, School of Management of Information Technology. So, this is quite different from the previous recession that we had in 2016, in the sense that it is the outcome of the pandemic that led to lockdown. That lockdown brought about total shutdown in the economy, not only Nigerian economy but globally. This has affected the two major variables that affect the Nigerian economy. That is the production of crude oil and the sales of crude oil. We have two things, that is to say, when the volume of production goes down, you automatically know that the major earner of foreign exchange will be affected. When also the price is going down, so you have two impacts, the price of the crude oil and also the production of crude oil. So that has brought a lot of stress. In addition to that, our productivity has also gone down. A lot of people were unable to go back to the farm. Factories were closed down, and so many other things have affected the economy. As a result, we naturally expect this will happen. In fact, we have to commend those that handle the economy. We expect it would have been much worse than this, but because of the policies that have been put in place, we have recovered the shock. If you look at other countries, they are yet to achieve the level with which we have achieved.
All right,
it wouldn't have been possible for us to be able to pay our salary.
All right,
but
let us get to the level of society now. What is the effect of the recession on the common man?
It's obvious. The major impact is hunger. The insecurity we have cannot be unconnected to the recession that we are having. The rate of unemployment is growing by the day. If you look at the rate of inflation that is going up now, it's crazy, and it's a direct impact of the lockdown and that brought about the recession. When you look at the prices of foodstuff, we've been crying here and there to the extent that some people were so stressed up that are calling for government to start importing. But I think the government did the right thing by not importing food, in the sense that the timing would have been very, very bad for the country. Why do we say so? Because from October, November, this is a period that we are harvesting. So by the time you import food into the country, what is going to happen is going to crash down the price of product or food that were produced internally, and therefore it will cause a serious problem to the farmers, and it will discourage people from farming next season. This was a good decision taken by the government by not doing that, and naturally you don't expect to achieve, you don't expect to enjoy without some level of challenges, difficulties. As an example is, if you want a good road, you must bear the difficulties of the construction,
all right,
the dust and so many other things. So the impact, as I have said now, unemployment, hunger, insecurity, and the inflation that we are having.
Now,
and as you can see, it will also hit on the exchange rate of the country.
Yes, government has rolled out several strategies. Now, how effective, in your own opinion, are these strategies, especially for small and medium enterprises?
Well, the policies have been fairly effective, but we will say that we could not see proper coordination of the activities, the institutions that are supposed to execute what is supposed to be done. What we have seen are the fallout of the NSAS program, where you could see that a lot of places, food that were provided for, and other items that were provided for palliative could not reach the target or intended people, the low common man. So it's as a result of coordination problem. They are unable to coordinate to ensure that things that are supposed to get to the people are getting to the people. Loan facilities, palliatives in terms of salary that is going to be paid to small-scale industries or small-scale businesses. We have not seen that. It has not come yet. So this has reduced the possibility or the level at which we expect to see the changes, even though, as I have said, the achievement is fairly commendable, but we need to see more from the government, particularly in ensuring that the people get what is required from the government.
We thank you for sharing those insights with us, Professor Rada.
Thank you so much.
I've been speaking with Professor Bawa of Modibo Adama University of Technology in Ula, Adamawa State. Now to other news. Federal government says it will continue to strengthen existing strategies towards prevention of COVID-19. That is the second wave in Nigeria. Minister of Health Dr. Sage Hanuri said this while receiving delivery of another batch of COVID-19 non-pharmaceutical supplies to boost capacity response against the virus from the National Lottery Trust Fund. Abubakar Usman Akwanga has the details.
Another consignment of personal protective equipment to tackle COVID-19 is being delivered. This is from the Nigerian Lottery Trust Fund to the federal government.
These objectives are in tandem with President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration's commitment to eliminating the deadly virus from our society at once.
It is an intervention that the federal government emphasized is needed to fight against the pandemic, and collaboration with all stakeholders is seen as a way of stopping another phase of economic and social losses occasioned by COVID-19 lockdown.
COVID-19 remains very virulent and a dangerous pandemic, and the World Health Organization statistics show that more cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the past 4 weeks.
Government hopes that the facilities will be put to proper use for the benefit of the people of Nigeria, particularly at this critical time.
With the donation of PPEs to selected health facilities in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country by Lottery Trust Fund, experts insist observation of safety protocols remain key.
The continued intervention is a pointer to the fact that COVID-19 has come to live with humanity. But with the right attitude, the curve can be flattened and the mental depression connected with the virus could be effectively managed. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
UK health regulator to assess the AstraZeneca vaccine, marking a first step towards rollout. Donald Trump indicates readiness to leave the White House if Joe Biden is confirmed by the Electoral College. Over now to Justin Bemuyi for details on Global Update.
The UK government has announced a significant first step in getting the AstraZeneca vaccine approved for deployment. On Friday, it formally referred AstraZeneca's experimental vaccine candidate to the UK's medicines regulator for assessment. The British-Swedish drug maker is developing the vaccine in conjunction with the UK's Oxford University. If it gains regulatory approval, the UK will be one of the first countries in the world to receive it, according to the country's Department of Health and Social Care. In the meantime, the Director Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, John Kengasung, has confirmed that the widespread campaign to distribute COVID-19 vaccines in Africa will likely only begin in the second quarter of next year because of challenges around accessing vaccines and preparing countries for their distribution. And from the records as indicated on the Worldometer dashboard, global cases of COVID-19 have now surpassed 61 million. Just as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control says, the country now has 66,974 cases confirmed. In other news, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed again ruled out dialogue with the leaders of the defiant Tigray region, saying he is willing to speak to representatives operating legally there during a meeting with 3 African Union special envoys trying to end the deadly conflict between federal troops and the region's forces. The meeting occurred as people fled the Tigray capital in fear of an imminent assault after Abiy said the army had been ordered to move in for the final phase of an offensive to arrest the leaders of the Tigray People's Liberation Front who run the region. In another development, Donald Trump has given his closest indication of conceding defeat in the 2020 U.S. election. The U.S. president says he will leave the White House if the Electoral College votes confirm Joe Biden as the winner.
It's going to be a very hard thing to concede because we know there was massive fraud. So as to whether or not I can get this apparatus moving this quickly, because time isn't on our side, everything else is on our side, facts are on our side. This was a massive fraud.
I thank you for watching. I'm Justin Bemuyi.
And that's a wrap on the news at this time on NTA International. Be the star you're supposed to be by connecting with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. Amani Ali.